About some of the emotions either leading up to today and what you're feeling maybe now today, especially knowing that nobody's ever going to wear 22 again here at Iowa?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, I feel very lucky and fortunate.
In a candid post-game interview when pressed about the incident, Carter's response was a study in deflection and non-accountability. Instead of apologizing or acknowledging her mistake, she repeatedly downplayed the significance of her actions, claiming that nothing more than a simple play had occurred. This refusal to take responsibility not only compounded her error, but also deepened the rift between her and the league's leadership. Her attitude suggested a disregard for the values that are essential in a professional sports environment, values such as humility, accountability, and respect for one's peers.
Like here the day, and it's like, oh, your jersey's getting retired this day. It's like, oh, okay. But like when the day like approaches very fast, you don't have as much time to prepare for everything that's going to be involved in it. But
When breaking down the play in detail, it becomes clear that what occurred was far more than a typical game incident. Many have likened it to a tipping point, a moment that not only affected the immediate game, but also altered the perception of an entire career. On the court, emotions can run high, and physicality is a given. But there's a line between competitive spirit and outright aggression. In this case, that line was not just crossed, it was obliterated. Caitlin Clark, who was on the receiving end of the push, is not merely another player, she's the league's marquee attraction.
You know, since I've left, this is only really my second time back here. The other time was when we got our rings on the field, so it's just fun for me to come back and like just say thank you to everybody that poured so much in.
Clark's skill set, poise, and marketability have turned her into a cornerstone for the future of the WNBA. Her performances draw huge crowds, generate record merchandise sales, and have even become a talking point in broader discussions about elevating women's sports. Thus, any attack on her not only jeopardizes the safety and dignity of a fellow competitor, but also undermines a vital asset for the league's growth. For Carter, this wasn't just a push on the court, it was a breach of trust, a disrespectful act against the very essence of what the sport stands for. The energy behind the push was palpable. It wasn't an accidental collision or a momentary lapse of concentration. Instead, it was an expression of frustration taken too far, one that resulted in an act that has been etched in the memories of fans and analysts alike. Replays of the incident reveal a disturbing level of intensity. The sound of the crowd's shocked gasp, the visible disbelief on the faces of fellow players, and the subsequent silence from those who once supported her, it all paints a picture of a player who has lost control at the most critical moment.
To me and allowed me to be great, whether that's, you know, the social media people, whether that's the marketing team, whoever it is that made me look really good at times.
That push was a self-inflicted wound that not only injured the reputation of the individual involved, but also served as a cautionary example for all athletes regarding the importance of maintaining professionalism under pressure. The fallout from Chennedy Carter's actions has forced the WNBA to confront some hard truths about player conduct and the image of the league as a whole. In today's sports environment, where every on-court moment is scrutinized and every off-court action can affect a team's brand, the push incident has become a catalyst for change. Leagues across North America are known not only for the athletic talents they showcase, but also for the strict standards they maintain regarding player behavior. In the wake of this incident, the WNBA's leadership has reportedly begun discussions on implementing even stricter disciplinary measures.
A lot of these big milestone emotional moments you are playing in a game, because you're not playing because you know what this is going to be like, do you feel like you'll be able to let yourself feel the emotions a little bit more?
Yeah, and I feel like I already have kind of today.
These talks aren't just about penalizing a single player, they're about safeguarding the league's image and ensuring that the behavior of its stars aligns with the values it wishes to project to fans, sponsors, and aspiring athletes. Some insiders have suggested that the incident may even prompt the league to revisit its code of conduct policies. Imagine a scenario where a flagrant foul like this doesn't just result in a technical penalty or a fine, but leads to mandatory counseling or even suspensions for players who display a consistent pattern of unprofessional behavior. While such measures might seem drastic, the incident has forced decision-makers to consider whether the current disciplinary frameworks are adequate in an era when player conduct is inextricably linked to the league's financial success and public image. Moreover, the push incident has had repercussions on how teams evaluate talent. Increasingly, organizations are looking beyond statistics and game day performances to assess whether a player can be a positive influence in the locker room and a reliable ambassador for the team. In Carter's case, her actions have become a red flag, one that makes teams wary of the potential disruptions she could cause to team chemistry and morale. When a player's off-court behavior starts to overshadow their on-court talent, even the most impressive stats can become secondary considerations. The discussion doesn't end with disciplinary action, though. There's also an economic aspect to consider. With the rising popularity of the WNBA, player marketability and the league's overall brand value are becoming increasingly intertwined.
I think it's definitely, you are a little bit more vulnerable. I don't have to go and compete for 40 minutes, even though I wish maybe I could. But certainly, I think it will definitely be a little bit more emotional that I don't have to compete and go play.
It wasn't just a matter of one bad play or a momentary lapse in judgment. Rather, it was the cumulative effect of repeated poor decisions and an unwillingness to learn from past mistakes. Teammates who might once have been inclined to overlook minor infractions found themselves forced to draw a line in the sand. The push against Caitlin Clark became a tipping point that crystallized a broader pattern of behavior, one that had been under scrutiny for far too long. In interviews conducted in the wake of the incident, several former players noted that professionalism on the court is just as important as talent. They argued that the reputation of the entire team, and by extension, the league, is at stake whenever an individual's conduct falls short of the expected standard. The Chicago Sky's decision to not only bench Carter, but to refuse her a qualifying contract was a clear message. No matter how gifted you are on the court, if you cannot be counted on to be a positive influence in the locker room, this sentiment is echoed in other professional sports as well. The idea that a single player's behavior can have a domino effect on team morale and performance is not unique to the WNBA. However, in a league that is working hard to promote a positive, family-friendly image and to attract new fans, incidents like these are particularly damaging. When every action is scrutinized by an audience that spans not just hardcore basketball fans, but also casual viewers and potential sponsors, the cost of a mistake can be astronomical. While much of the conversation has centered around Chennedy Carter's misstep, it's equally important to acknowledge the role of Caitlin Clark in this unfolding drama. Clark isn't just another player in the league. She's the face of a revolution in women's basketball. With every game she plays, she draws in record-breaking crowds, boosts television ratings, and contributes to a surge in merchandise sales that has put the WNBA on the map in unprecedented ways. When Carter pushed Clark, it wasn't merely a personal attack, it was an affront to what the league stands for. Clark represents a new era of athletic excellence, resilience, and marketability. Her impact goes far beyond her on-court performance. She's become a symbol of the modern WNBA, one that is redefining what it means to be a professional athlete in today's world. For many fans, Clark's success is not just about scoring points. It's about inspiring a new generation of young athletes who see in her the possibility of greatness, both on and off the court. Clark's reaction to the push was one of utter disbelief and confusion. In the seconds following the incident, her expression revealed not just physical pain, but a deep emotional shock.
For those of us that were blessed enough to be in the recruiting wars with Caitlin Clark, it didn't take but a second when you saw her for the first time to recognize her greatness. We had a
sentiment that resonated with fans around the world. In later interviews, Clark admitted that for a moment she simply couldn't comprehend what had just occurred. That moment of vulnerability only served to underscore the gravity of the situation and to highlight the enormous pressure placed on her as a marquee player. Moreover, the economic impact of Clark's star power cannot be overstated. With her popularity soaring, the league has seen unprecedented increases in merchandise sales. Jerseys, t-shirts, and even league-branded apparel have experienced dramatic surges. In many ways, Clark's influence is a driving force behind the WNBA's current renaissance, a force that teams and sponsors are eager to capitalize on. When a player of her caliber is attacked on the court, it's not just a personal affront, it's a threat to the entire economic model that supports the league's growth.
Lisa, Jenny, myself, our staff, we made a pact that we were going to do everything we could to be the last one standing. And we are so thankful that we were the last one standing.
In this light, Carter's push takes on an even darker hue. By targeting the league's most marketable asset, she inadvertently undermined not only her own career, but also the collective progress that the WNBA has made in recent years. It's as if, in that single moment, she chose to reject the broader ideals of teamwork, respect, and progress that the league has worked so hard to promote. The ramifications of the incident extend far beyond the immediate fallout for Chennedy Carter. In today's sports landscape, every significant on-court event has a ripple effect, impacting everything from television ratings to sponsorship negotiations, from ticket sales to collective bargaining agreements. This incident in particular has forced stakeholders at every level to re-examine the culture of the WNBA and to consider what must change to ensure a bright future for the league. One of the most tangible effects has been on the league's financial outlook. With Caitlin Clark's rising popularity, merchandise sales have skyrocketed, reportedly up by over 500% compared to the previous season. Items bearing her number and likeness have become must-have collectibles for fans,